and criticism of that, scrutiny of that, is entirely within the ordinary course of doing business. But the issue is that when criticism crosses the line, that's when it becomes problematic.
Okay, but crossing the line, sir, you could put that down to anything that's factual. If something is factual and you find it offensive, according to your group, that crosses the line.
No, that's not. That's not the case at all. It crosses the line if it goes from criticism to demonization or to racial vilification. That's when it crosses.
Well, if that demonization can be backed up by facts, why do you find facts offensive?
I don't believe that demonization of Israel can be backed up by facts. Certainly, there are rights and wrongs on both sides in the Israeli Middle East, in the Israeli Arab situation. There are rights and wrongs on both sides. But if there is demonization happening, then I dispute that could be backed up by facts, and that would be crossing the line.
Well, sir, the nature of the Internet is a very curious thing, because anybody with an opposing view can put up a website.
Certainly.
Anybody. So why did your group target Mr. Cristian specifically?
We did not target Mr. Cristian. When we contacted him because we found what I said to you a few moments ago, material on his site which was extremely inflammatory and very counterproductive to social harmony in our society, and that was the reason why we contacted him. It wasn't a question of targeting. It was a question of contacting him and pointing out that material on his site was extremely inflammatory.
Well, how exactly are you going to act on the threats that you've made?
That is a matter for us to decide what we will do and if we will do anything.
You mean with your little militia group that you got organized there?
We do not have a militia group. Group is not a militia group, and everything that we do is entirely within the law.
Well, indeed. What if Mr. Cristian is indeed going by the law as well? But according to you, you find the facts offensive.
It's not the facts that we find offensive. He has material on his site, for example, which is Holocaust denial. Those are not facts, and Holocaust denial is extremely offensive.
Well, sir, I've never seen anything on his site that denies that the Holocaust did not happen. Indeed, it did happen.
Well, I did see on his site that it did not happen. I did see it, and I won't repeat what he did say. But he certainly he had, for example, that Zyklon B gas, which was the gas used to murder millions of people. But according to part of his site, he said that it was there from memory, just to get rid of lice, or I think it's
delousing gas. Yes, I've read that.
Yeah.
But it's also known, and one of the facts of the matter is, the Zyklon B was provided to the Nazi regime by none other than an associate called Prescott Bush, which is Bush's grandfather.
Well, I mean,
you don't know that?
I was not aware of that fact. No, if that is a fact, indeed.
Absolutely, that can be backed up with facts. And these are the kinds of facts that a lot of people find offensive. The fact of the matter is that in 1916 was the first reported 6 million Jews dying in Eastern Europe. That's a fact that was reported in American Hebrew magazine. I got a copy of it right in front of me.
Well, for example, he had on his website, Mr. Cristian, he had a full screen's worth and more that something like Jews control 96% of the world's media, which is so absurd as to be laughable. That is not a fact, and that is the sort of thing which is inflammatory and which is very offensive.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did Mr. Cristian actually author that article?
It's irrelevant if he authored it. The point is he is promoting it, or he was, I don't know if he still is, on his website.
So archiving material that has been reported in the past by other people, you call that promotion?
If you are publishing it, then that is promotion, absolutely. And a website is a form of publication.
It certainly is. And archiving material, that's not promoting it. That's not pushing that idea. That's archiving. And especially if he didn't write it, you can't blame him for that article.
If you are looking after a website and you have on your website material which is inflammatory, you cannot make a case that you're at arm's length from it. You are in effect promoting that. And the point is that what actually happened 2 weeks ago, you might be interested to know, was that somebody was doing some research on some issue, and landed up on his website and on that particular story. So that is the danger of that. It's not sitting in some dusty archive which no one has access to. People in all good faith are doing research on issues, and they'll end up on the website such as the one we're talking about, which is counterproductive and inflammatory.
Well, yes, sir, indeed. Love for Life gets about 3 million hits a month, I'm aware. And in fact, if anybody had any problems, I'm sure we would have heard a long time ago. But apparently, there's only been one phone call, and that's been from you.
Well, that doesn't lessen the offensiveness and the damage that such a site can do, whether there's been one phone call or 1,000 phone calls.
Well, that kind of points out that you're out of touch with community feelings and community sentiment. You know, people would like to read the facts. And the fact of the matter is, mainstream media are no longer reporters. They're not reporting the news. They're repeating the news. They're repeaters. So it's up to the people. It is up to the public now to report the news. And if you find that offensive, sir, then that's obviously your problem. Do you find yourself a self-appointed internet police, sir?
Steve, putting up a story, whether you wrote it or whether you borrowed it from somebody else, which says that Jews control or own 96% of the world's media, is not fact, is not and is offensive. But so how can you lump that with reporting the news? That's not news.
I will protect and I will defend anybody's right to say whatever they want, no matter how offensive. You know, as long as it doesn't breach the law and as long as it doesn't actually threaten anyone in particular, then by all means, that is their freedom of right to say that, whatever they want to say.
I agree with exactly what you just said, and the key word in what you just said is, as long as it does not threaten anybody. And putting up articles which say that Jews control 96% of the world's media is threatening, because somebody might see that and take great offense at it, and based on a totally spurious claim, go out and carry out some act of ill will.
Well, it sounds like you have been offended by it, and you have been acting upon that. You're quite right. You're making your own point there.
Well, I'm actually not making my own point, because I have not gone and carried out any act of ill will against anybody.
Tell me, sir, were you born in Australia?
Where I was born is irrelevant to this discussion.
Purely simple question. Yes or no would be fine.
Well, my personal...
So you're purporting to speak for a lot of Australians? You're purporting to speak for a majority of Australians, or a minority, whatever they are, and you weren't even born there?
Where I was born...
That's rather curious.
Where I was born is my personal matter and is irrelevant to this discussion.
Absolutely. But, sir, have you been handed over any sort of power or authority to be the internet police?
The
simple question.
And I'm giving you an answer. The answer is that being the internet police is irrelevant to this discussion. The point is that if somebody is putting up material which is damaging to the harmony of our society and which is damaging to the welfare of the Jewish community, then the organization which I represent does have a mandate, yes, to speak on behalf of the community and to get involved.
So you have authority based on your organization, that's all?
Authority to do what?
To phone up people and threaten to take down their sites?
There was no threat, as I said earlier.
Okay. Well, sir, you haven't been given any authority. You haven't been given any mandate to make that kind of claim, to make that kind of authority on somebody else, to push your will or your group's will onto somebody else. In fact, that is against what Australians stand for, I believe.
No, I dispute all three of those sentences where you just said. You also play pretty fast and loose with your sentences, where you make statements like the ones you've just been making. I think this conversation has just ended. Thank you.
So what had I learnt from this call? Well, basically, if anyone gets offended about anything whatsoever, that's inciting hate, because somebody somewhere might do something about it. A lot of ifs and buts, but these are the rules that are being made. Wake up, Australia. Your country is being stolen from you. I think, personally, threatening to take down the Love for Life website, that is incitement to hatred. And I feel personally offended by this man. So do you think we can expect action? I doubt it. I'm the wrong religion. This is Steve Johnson signing off. Until next time, take care, God bless, and ciao for now.